Namaskar. So we are meeting here again for our spiritual evening or spiritual night. So today I will speak something on the appearance of God, advent of God. We are meeting here again this Sunday for the spiritual enlightening spiritual night. Today I will speak something on the appearance of God, advent of God in human form. The Indian scriptures and elsewhere also there is mention of incarnation of God, that God appears in the form of such and such person, in the form of such and such beings, and he brought relief to their sufferings. And in Indian scriptures, particularly Puranas, Ved Vyas had described such incarnations in very glowing terms, and people also worship them. And lastly, at the end of writing 18 Puranas, Ved Vyas had lamented and said that the only purpose of writing these Puranas was to give a good moral, a good purpose of writing these Puranas, good elevating concept, elevating value to humanity, that is Paropkar. Ashtadash Puraneshu Vyasasya Vachanam Dvayam Paropkaraya Punyaya Papaya Parapidanam. That Ved Vyas had written 18 Puranas and only to illustrate two things, two ideas, two concepts, two values, two sermons. That is, the first one is Paropkara Punya, that doing good to others, being helpful to others is the real virtue, and inflicting injury to others is real sin. Only for conveying the message of doing punya and avoiding papa, he had written 18 Puranas, 18 mythological books. So, although he, in the end of writing all these books, he had described his purpose in these two sentences very nicely, but still, in the deep recesses of mind, in the gravity of the inner heart, people believe in so many incarnations. And one Middle Ages poet has very nicely described about the 10 incarnations of God. First, he says, Kesho Dhrit Meen Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare. Then Kesho Dhrit Kurma Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare. Thereafter, Kesho Dhrit Varaha Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare. Again, Kesho Dhrit Vaman Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare. Thereafter, Kesho Dhrit Ram Sharira Bhrigupati Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare. Thereafter, Kesho Dhrit Ram Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare. Thereafter he says, Kesho Dhrit Buddha Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare. And lastly he says, Kesho Dhrit Kalki Sharira, Jai Jagadish Hari. So he has described these 10 incarnations, and he says that the Supreme God, Supreme Being, Supreme Entity has assumed these forms for giving relief, for delivering people from the sufferings, and bringing happiness in their life. So, but he writes here that Keshav Dhrit means Keshav has assumed these forms. That means these forms are different from Keshav. Keshav means Krishna, Lord Krishna. When Lord Krishna has manifested through these forms, but Lord Krishna is something different. So what is something different? That we have to understand. You know, incarnation, when we say incarnation, so Sri Shyamurti says that incarnation is descending from a particular status, descending that from the supreme status, that supreme entity gradually transforms into various forms, various entities, various existence, and everything that descends from him, everything he assumes a form that is avatar, that is incarnation. This is the Sri Muktiji's very good teaching that God has assumed numerous forms, inanimate as well as animate. So animate from any unicellular to the multicellular beings. These are all living beings, but they are at the various stages of evolution. First is the protozoic cells, protozoic beings, and highest is the metazoic beings. And in this ladder of evolution, human beings are at the top. And before that, all the various creatures are in the process of evolution. In the Anand philosophy, this is called Pratishanchara. So everything that comes from him, everything that is his manifestation, is incarnation, it is his avatar, we can say avatar. Everything that has come from him is his avatar, it is his incarnation. But it is not he, it is not the supreme entity in its totality, in its complete form. It is a partial manifestation. That supreme entity is partially manifesting. But it is his manifestation, and therefore this manifestation of supreme entity is called Sambhuti. Means proper expression, proper creation. It is a very nice creation. It is very meticulous creation, but it is a partial creation coming from him. So everything from a small ant to the biggest mammoth, from the unicellular being to the highly most elevated human being, they are all these Sambhutis. And in these Sambhutis, he has not given a proper synonym in English or Sambhuti. So let us use the word Sambhuti. Sam means very ordered, in a proper order, in a proper system, in a very meticulous system. Bhuti means creation. He has created everything very nicely. And that's why when we go to some natural beauty resort, there we feel overwhelmed by the nature's expression in plants, in trees, in forests, in rivers, in ocean, in sunrise and sunset, in garden, in various ways. We lose our consciousness. We feel greatly elated there. So this nature is actually functioning because of his will, the will of the Supreme Entity. That's why everything is so nicely, so beautifully attractive to us. And we feel pleasure in being in natural surrounding. And we always aspire to visit such sightseeing places whenever the occasion is available to us. So I want to make it clear that these partial manifestations, they are not the complete, total manifestation of the Supreme. And that's why the from protozoic to the metazoic existence, the created beings are called Jiva Koti. They have life and they are in the process of evolution. First is, as it has been said, I told you earlier by the great poet, he says that first manifestation, the life was first manifested in the water. And so the fish is the first manifestation. And then a being which can live in water as well as on land. So that is in the tortoise which we see. It can live in water as well as on the land. And thereafter, we find such creatures who can live only on land. And Vara or Ba is, you can say, is it lives only on land and it is very undeveloped creature. Thereafter, we find there is some development and it comes in the form of subhuman entity, and that is Narahari. Narahari is human and animal combined. This is Narahari. And thereafter comes a undeveloped human being. It is named Vaman, dwarf. And thereafter is Ragupati, that is a developed, physically developed, mentally to some extent, but more physically developed human being, that is Ragupati or Parshuram. And thereafter comes Rama, who is considered as the king of Ayodhya. He is physically also developed and mentally also developed. And later we come to Balaram. Balaram, he was a civil engineer and he was also well versed in agriculture, town planning, and it was he who had actually made the city of Dwarka. So he was an engineer and he did lot of things for the prosperity of the society. And after Balaram, the highest human developed personality, that is Buddha. Buddha is a symbol. It signifies a very, very developed human personality. But all this from the Buddha and the last one, the poet said that in Kali Yuga, Kalki incarnation will take place and it will fill the demons in human form and establish the rule of morality, justice, and dharma. So he predicts about the advent of such a personality. But from all this, he said that Keshav Dhrit, Mani Keshava, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, has assumed these forms. So, but it is not the Supreme Lord, but it is his partial manifestation. And that's why they are all within Sambhuti. And in this Sambhuti, there is a gradation of evolution. And in proportionate of the evolution and the reflection of the divinity, expression of divinity from that particular entity, it is called Kalavatar, Ansavatar, Khandavatar. So it is all the because of the various degrees of the divinity expressed through that particular medium that we call it Kalavatar, Ansavatar, Khandavatar. Kalavatar is at the lowest status. It has some divine power, but in a small measure. Ansavatar is more developed divinity in it, and in Khandavatar, the highest developed divinity in human being. But they are not the supreme entity himself. They are all the sambhutis of the supreme entity. And therefore, they can do some good to the society to a certain degree. They cannot solve all the problems. They cannot meet the challenges of different complexities of the society. So when the sambhutis, this Kalavatar, Ansavatar, Khandavatar, the highest of sambhutis, they fail to meet the challenges, the crisis of the civilization, of our social structure, then then the supreme entity manifests its 100% divinity through a particular medium, through a particular physical existence, and that we call Mahasambhuti. Is Mahasambhuti. So this Mahasambhuti is not an incarnation. It is not the result of the evolution, which we find in the case of Ansavatar, Kalavatar, Ansavatar, and Khandavatar. It is complete. In Shastra, it is said, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vashishyate. Means there is the manifestation of perfection. Means he can do anything, get all the powers, all the capacities, and there is unlimited flow of knowledge, wisdom, learning, unlimited flow. And these three, Kalavatar, Ansavatar, and Khandavatar, these great evolved human souls, human personalities, they do also tremendous work, no doubt. Very remarkable things are done by them. But they cannot change the whole society. They cannot meet the crisis of the whole society. And that's why it becomes necessary that the Supreme Entity himself appears in human form. So that is not because of the evolution, which is the case with Sambhuti, howsoever developed it may be. It is the Supreme taking a medium, a human medium, and then manifests all the tremendous power, whatever is the need of the then society, whatever is the crisis in the then society, the degeneration, the decline of dharma, All these situations are very effectively met, resolved by the presence of Mahasambhuti. So this Mahasambhuti is not an incarnation, it is the manifestation of the total divinity in human form. So we had on the earth planet till now three Mahasambhutis had appeared in different ages. The first was Lord Sadashiva, Bhagavan Shiva, then was Sri Krishna, and now in our time, Sri Anandamurti. So this Mahasambhuti appears when there is so much unrighteousness, so much predominance of evil that humans feel unequal to resolve the crisis. Then, the appearance of Mahasambhuti becomes essential. And, the society does not move in a linear form. If the movement is positive, it is systematic. That means there is speed and pause, like in our breathing system, we inhale and exhale. So in the society also, there is a stage when there is pause, and in this pause, so much filth, so much degeneration takes place, and life becomes hell. People become very disheartened. The despondency, despair rules the society, and humans feel difficult to overcome their sorrow, to overcome the complexity of the problems. So the appearance of Mahasambhuti at that time brings great relief to their prevailing agonizing situation. So when Shiva came, he, we know that he gave so many things so that we can become civilized. He is the father of human civilization. He contributed in almost all the departments of human life which was needed at that time in music. This Sur Shaptak, the seven notes of the music, was invented by him, and so the music became melodious, it became sweeter, it became rhythmic. And similarly, he gave this knowledge of surgery and also so many things in the field of medicine, treatment. Not only that, he is the first married person in our society. So he gave this concept of marriage, that people should marry and then they should live like a proper family. It should not be a freelance life between male and female, but a systematic life, a systematic married life. And because of Shiva, that this concept of marriage came in human society. And the greatest, he gave so many such things, and it will take many hours to describe about his great contributions. But the greatest thing which he gave was the concept of dharma, that this human life is not only for survival, as it being just as it is in the case of animal kingdom or vegetable kingdom. The human life is meant for the realization of the Supreme from where we have come. We have to realize that the Supreme Entity is the destination of our life. And when we try to move towards that Supreme Entity, then alone we deserve the name human. if our movement is not towards the Supreme Entity, it is away from Him. It is absorbed and involved only with the material world. Only it is engaged in getting hedonistic pleasure. We cannot say it is a proper human life, it is a genuine human life. In order to be a genuine human being, it is essential that the goal of life is the Supreme Entity, who is the origin of our existence. And He is also the terminating point of our existence. So this dharma, concept of dharma, the goal of life, and sadhana vidyan, this knowledge, how we can achieve that supreme status, how our psycho-spiritual elevation can be effectively materialized. For this, he gave a psycho-spiritual science called Tantra. So Shiva's contribution are numerous. Without Shiva's contribution, humanity would not have become civilized. Similarly, when the society was again in great crisis, Shiva came 7,000 years ago, and 3,500 years after Shiva's advent came another Mahashambhuti, Lord Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna, he also did so many things, but the greatest thing I consider is one is that in the spiritual side, he gave the sweet bhava, I can say, that Lord is available only to those who meditate, who concentrate deeply, who contemplate deeply. He is for great yogis, for great sadhakas. God is attainable only by them. This he removed this type of feeling from the mind of the then population. He said, by sweet relationship, by the sweet feeling that, oh Lord, I cannot live without you, I love you, I like you, I cannot survive. My whole existence is for you, for your pleasure. With this sweet relationship also, a person can attain him. He may not be a great practitioner of spirituality, but because of innate love for him, he can attain his proximity, and he can also finally become one with him and realize the Brahma, realize the Supreme Entity. So this was the sweet, the feeling of sweetness. It was brought by Krishna in the, I can say, spiritual life of sadhakas. And before Krishna, the Shiva had given sadhana vidyan, this intuitional science. But then there was a feeling in the sadhakas that I am small and he is great. That great, that infinite entity, the supreme entity, has manifested through the medium of name and form of Shiva. So there was a feeling of greatness and smallness. Krishna said, it's correct that he is supreme and we are unique, we are finite. But we are his and he is ours. And therefore, we should not nurture any feeling that he is great, so there is a distance between him and us. We can still be closer to him, we can still be intimate to him, and we can still have the experience of his supreme existence, his supreme status. He will not remain unattainable to us. So this sweetness came because of Krishna, and then the Kirtan, Bhajan, etc. that we see, it flourished because of Krishna's teachings. Krishna's spiritual values. And then another thing which he gave very great contribution in the field of, I can say, dharma, that dharma is not something for individual life. Dharma is also essential for maintaining a good social life. The society must be founded on the tenets of dharma. It should be the foundation of the society should be dharma. This he very nicely said, and only because of that he organized the Pandavas and those who were the supporters of dharma, practitioners of dharma, and there was a big war in which Krishna was instrumental in the victory of Pandavas. That means the dharmic forces. So he assured that if the dharmic people, if the moral people, moralists, they are organized and united and they fight against the unrighteousness against the sinful forces, then I assure them victory. He did it in his lifetime, and today also, wherever we find victory of the moralist forces, it is because of the blessings of Sri Krishna. So he made dharma also an integral part of our social life. He did not keep it confined to the individual life. And third, a very important thing he gave in the moral aspect of life, which he said that simple morality and spiritual morality. That the spiritualist must maintain spiritual morality. That means their progress towards spiritual life must remain unhindered. If there is any impediment, that has to be crushed. And for this, the morality has to assume a dynamic form, dynamic status. And there, it is not necessary that we have to treat a beaten track. And that's why, he also used diplomacy. He also used, you can say, cunningness where it was required to defeat the immoral forces. And that's why we find that in Mahabharata war, he was guiding the Pandavas how to get victory. He got Bhishma killed by Arjuna. He got Dronacharya killed by Dhrishtadyumna. He got Karna killed by Arjuna. Only with the skill, with the cleverness, not just a straight fight as the many brave heroes used to fight, just to show that they are brave, that they cannot submit to any force. So this his concept was that you should fight for victory. You should not fight for showing your manliness, demonstrating your braveness, valor, and a chivalrous life. You must fight for the victory of dharma. And so during the period of fight for dharma, if you need to be practice some diplomacy or some cunningness is also required, it is not avoided. It is not avoidable, you should do it. And we sometimes hesitate that how we can counter the evil forces, unrighteous forces. So there we have to be very dynamic. We must see how it can be done so that our victory towards the spiritual mass is assured. Krishna went to Karna in disguise, and he went at a time when Karna had declared that anybody who will come to demand anything during the period of his worship after bath, he will grant that boon to that gentleman. And Krishna went to him at that time, but disguised in a form of a Brahmin person. And he said that I want your amulet, I want your kavach. And that was a very precious thing for him. His life was associated with that protective armor. But because he was, promise bound, so he gave it to him. So it was simple morality. But if Karna had practiced the spiritual morality, he might have said that Krishna, I will give it to you, let the war be over. But he could not do it. Since those days, it was not the practice. He had promised that I will give, and he gave it. He did not deviate from his word. But in spiritual morality, you can deviate for greater cause, for nobler cause, for the cause of the victory of moralists, of humanists, of spiritualists. So this concept of spiritual morality instead of simple morality was introduced by Krishna. So now, when we are in the present time, we are again facing a great crisis, very serious crisis, and I do not find that the greatest of intellectuals, thinkers, have been able to resolve the crisis. The crisis is always moving from one complexity to another complexity. And one of my very good journalist friend, Girilal Jain, who was the editor of a renowned daily paper of India, Times of India, when I was talking with him, he said that Acharya, it is not possible to resolve